What's going on, everybody? This is Kenneth Grunfelder coming at you with a video, podcast, whatever you want to call it, episode about the Yankees. I know it's been a while. I haven't posted anything on this channel since this past September, which was another Yankee video talking about the current state of the Yankees at the time. And that's what this video will be about. And like I said, haven't posted anything on the channel in a while. Want to try to, post, videos on a regular basis, episodes, especially with the second half of the season coming back on Friday. Right now I'm recording this on Monday night after the home run derby. So whenever this episode comes out, that's really when I recorded this. But so the topic of the day is obviously the Yankees, to talk about their first half, what went on, and what they have to do to maybe have a good second half, a rebound. So obviously, where the Yankees currently stand, if the playoffs were to start today, the Yankees would not be in the playoffs. They would be one game out. Well, right now they're one game out in the third wild card. The Blue Jays, the Orioles, and the Astros have the three wild card spots, and the Yankees right now currently sit in fourth place in the AL East. So obviously, there's a lot to unpack with this team right now. And going into the year, for the people that are listening to this, some of you, know that I tend to be very pessimistic when it comes to the Yankees in the past. And, I always complain and do all these things, even when they have very good seasons. But, I kind of had a sort of a revelation after they lost to the Astros last year in the playoffs after getting swept. And I kind of just, sat back and said to myself, the Yankees really aren't a team that, they're kind of behind when you look at some of these other teams. And you go back to when Aaron Boone said, after they lost to the Red Sox in the wild card game a couple years ago, he said the league is catching up to us. No, the league has passed you. And that's kind of how I look at it. The league has passed the Yankees, and they're no longer this team going into it year in, year out where you're saying this team's going to win the World Series. That's just not the case. Now, going back to what I said, going into this year, I thought this team was going to win 97 games. I said they would have a very good season, and they would lose to the Astros. But actually, right now the Astros aren't having their best season either. They have injuries to their rotation, to their lineup. Altuve was hurt. Yordan Alvarez is out with an injury. So, the Astros are kind of dealing with some stuff as well. But right now they're in a playoff spot. And with the Yankees, there's, again, a lot to unpack. So let's get into the specifics. So right now where it currently stands, they're 49-42. And they have been very inconsistent. And, a lot of that has to deal with the fact with the biggest thing is they are missing their best player, their MVP, Aaron Judge. Obviously, it's already been a month now since he got hurt running into a wall out in L.A. to help the Yankees win a game against the Dodgers. But little did we know that injury or that play would have led to an injury that has left him sidelined for basically a month. And it's going to be more than that. And initially they said it was a sprain, and that was the best case scenario. And then all of a sudden it came out that he actually did tear a ligament. And the Yankees have kind of had to piece together games. Their bullpen has been pretty good. Well, it's been the best bullpen in baseball. Shouldn't say pretty good. The starting rotation has been pretty good, but inconsistent. And some guys are struggling, and we'll get into that. But, they're over 500, which they should be thrilled about. But with Aaron Judge not there, it's really kind of shown, us fans how, this team is built off of Aaron Judge, and without him, it's not good. And, we had a lot of years, going back to, 2013, 2014, where a lot of people got injured, and you saw guys playing every day that you wouldn't normally see. 2013 specifically, we started opening day with Kevin Youkilis playing third base, Nunez playing shortstop. We had Brennan Bosch, Ben Francisco, Travis Hafner. We had all these guys playing for us. Lyle Overbay, another person as well. That was a team that actually at one point was in first place. They were in first place, and they ended up winning, I think, 85 games, I want to say. But yeah, that was not good. We had a lot of guys injured. A-Rod, Teixeira, Jeter, Granderson, they were all hurt that year. 2014 was another year where like the rotation was banged up, and the lineup really was just not that good. So those were pretty bad years. 2021, you had a team that just was so inconsistent the whole year, and because of a 13-game winning streak, they squeaked into the playoffs and they lost. So now you go into this year, and the biggest problem with the Yankees going into this year was their lineup. And Aaron Judge, if he doesn't hit 62 home runs, they don't make the playoffs. They just don't. And now you take him out of the lineup, and you know what's crazy? Everybody that's in the lineup right now is basically what the starting lineup was going to be with Aaron Judge. And all these guys are just not playing up to their expectation. You got guys like Josh Donaldson, who has 10 home runs on the season, and those 10 home runs, 10 of his 15 hits are home runs. He doesn't hit the ball. He doesn't hit singles. He doesn't get doubles. All he hits is home runs. That's it. And then you look at a guy like DJ LeMahieu, which I just cannot believe how far off a cliff he's fallen. He's batting under 220, I believe, right now, and he just does not look like the same player. And Yankee fans were advocating, including myself, for the Yankees to bring him back because, he was a breath of fresh air for us between 2019 to 2020. I mean, he hit 27 home runs in 2019, batted around 300, and then he won a batting title in the COVID year. He batted 364. And then 2021, dealt with some injuries. Last year was the toe injury, and this year, I mean, they say he's healthy, but he just does not look like the same player. And he was, a catalyst for this offense for a couple of years now, and he just isn't the same player. I mean, he's still good at third base, but hitting-wise, he has been awful. And his strikeouts are up. That's something that, watching TV and watching all the sports shows, his strikeouts are up, and you're just seeing it. He just looks like a broken-down player at the plate, and it's not good. And Josh Donaldson, I mean, we talk about the trade with the Twins, him, Ben Rortvedt, and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. That was a terrible trade. You could have simply just got rid of Gary Sanchez. You could have cut him, DFA'd him, whatever, and you would have been on your way. But you traded Sanchez, you traded Gio Urshela, you bring in Donaldson, you bring in Kiner-Falefa, who's supposed to be a stopgap shortstop, and he now ends up being our starting left fielder. So, yeah, a lot of guys not playing well. Giancarlo Stanton, very inconsistent. He had that moonshot in the second game against the Cubs. So you could still see that Stanton's got some stuff left in the tank, but, I mean, he's fallen off, too, a little bit. He's, batting around 200. I mean, he's just not having a good year. He hasn't been good since he came back from the injury in the second half of last year. He just has not been good. I still think there's some stuff left in the tank with Stanton. But I think LeMahieu's shot. I really do believe that. I think the best days of DJ LeMahieu are behind him. And, Stanton's probably approaching that, but I think LeMahieu has fallen off a cliff. I think he's done. And then, you look at Anthony Rizzo. Anthony Rizzo is having a great year. He hasn't homered since May 20th. May 20th was the last time that he hit a home run. And I'm recording this right now on July 10th. I mean, that's almost 2 months since he's homered. I mean, it's incredible. The whole team is just I don't get it. I really don't get it. I mean, you knew that they were going to take a massive step back without Aaron Judge, but I didn't think to this extent. I mean, it's unbelievable. Harrison Bader, he's batting around 250. He's gotten some big hits for them, so I can't really complain with him. The catching situation, I mean, it is what it is. Higashioka has shown that he's got a little bit more pop than Trevino, and Trevino was coming off of an all-star season last year. So, I mean, it is what it is with the catcher position. I mean, I really am not, flipping out over it just because there's not a lot of catchers, good offensive catchers. Now, I've been talking about it with people, how, the Yankees, a trade target for them was Sean Murphy, who was on the Oakland A's. And I'm guessing the Yankees maybe inquired on him, but the Braves got him. Another Oakland A they also have is Matt Olson, and they're both having great years for the Braves. And you wonder, why didn't the Yankees try to, get Sean Murphy? Because that could have solved a lot of problems there with catcher, but it is what it is. But the biggest thing with them is that they didn't get a left fielder, and that's why when I alluded to it, that Isaiah Kiner Falefa's been a left fielder for him. He's been playing center field for them. Guy that was supposed to be a stopgap shortstop is playing the outfield. It's not good. They went into the year banking on Cabrera and Hicks to be the left fielder, and it didn't work. Cabrera's been... I kind of feel bad for Cabrera in the sense that, they tried to send him down to the minors just so he can, get his mind right and, work on some things. But every time they do that, somebody gets hurt and gets put on the IL, and he immediately has to come up. It happened, I believe, with Judge. He was like the corresponding move or whatever it was. I don't remember. And then it happened again with Willie Calhoun, I think. I think they had to bring him up when Willie Calhoun. Yeah, Willie Calhoun. I never thought I'd be talking about Willie Calhoun with the Yankees, but yeah. It's just been a revolving door in left field. Aaron Hicks got DFA'd finally. They got rid of him. That was just too little too late with that. They should have did that last year, but it is what it is. Now he's killing it with the Orioles. He's played out there. Jake Bowers has played out there. Calhoun, well, I don't know if Calhoun's played out there. I don't even know. He's definitely played right field. You also got Billy McKinney, who's come in and played a little bit of left field as well. But it's just gotten to the point where the Yankees need to do something with that position because it's really bad. It's a mess. And a lot of people are talking about why aren't they bringing up Estevan Florial. I'm not really begging for it. I guess in the sense you get somebody out there that can actually catch the ball, but the guy comes up here and does nothing. He really has not been a good hitter whenever he's been called up. So I'm not really clamoring for him to be brought up either. Now, what they end up doing instead is they brought up Franchy Cordero, who's not a good right fielder or a good outfielder in general, and people were talking about in the beginning of the year how he could be the next Matt Carpenter. He could be the guy that just comes in out of nowhere and he hits. And you know what? He did do that for a week, and then that was it. Then he got sent down and you never heard from him again. So left field is a huge problem, and they have to address that. And you know what? They might have to get another infielder because what's going on with this team, defensively, is just, it's mind-boggling. I mean, Gleyber Torres, he leads all of second basemen with 9 errors on the season. And Aaron Boone, after the game, to close out the first half, said, I don't think he's made, what did he say, a lot of outlandish plays at second base. It's just, I understand he doesn't want to, throw his players under the bus, but you gotta say, the guy's got to make the play, but he doesn't do that. But that's a separate thing that I'll maybe get into in a little bit. But Gleyber Torres, making a lot of bad plays. I haven't even mentioned Anthony Volpe. Quick thing on Anthony Volpe, he's been a bright spot, through all this. I just want to throw that in there because he's the only person I haven't even mentioned yet. But with the defense though, last year they said about that trade to get Kiner Falefa and Donaldson. They said specifically, we want to better our defense because our defense wasn't good the year prior. Okay, so what did that go all out the window with this year? You don't get a left fielder. And Gleyber Torres is making errors like crazy. And again, like I said, your outfield is a mess without Judge and without a left fielder. And Bader's been hurt a couple times already. So I don't understand I just don't understand that. But you gotta do something. And they just there's no sense of urgency there. I feel like with Aaron Boone, he just he treats a lot of these games like we're still in April, like it's a spring training game. And it's we're missing our best player. We got to get as many wins as we can. And I understand Gleyber Torres is a good bat. He's been one of our better hitters this year. But, you got to send a message and say, listen, you make a bad play, there's going to be consequences, but whatever. But yeah, it's been a problem there. Now, again, the bullpen, that's been a bright spot. Although last, 8 games or so, the ERA is way up. They're giving up a lot of hits. They're walking guys. Marinaccio walked the bases loaded, I think. Or he had a couple of walks at least, and that led to the big inning for the Cubs in the final game. But that's going to happen. They're not going to be amazing every single time, but that's definitely a little concerning there. But you know what? I think the bullpen, when it's all said and done, they'll straighten it out. But that's something to keep an eye on. The starting rotation: Garrett Cole is starting the All-Star game, which is really nice to see. I would love to see him win the Cy Young this year. It's going to be tough, though. You got guys like Nathan Eovaldi who are having really good seasons, too. So it's going to be close, but good for him. He deserves it. He's been another bright spot for the team. Very happy with how Clark Schmidt has pitched lately. In the beginning of the year, we would look at it and say, well, that's an auto loss, but it hasn't looked like that lately. I think, with other guys kind of struggling in the rotation, which I'll get into in a second, he's definitely earned the right to stay in the rotation, which is good. Domingo Germán had the perfect game, which I thought I would never see in my lifetime. That was amazing. I was in Florida for that game, so I was literally watching it on my phone, and I just couldn't believe it that actually happened. And it's been more than 10 years, which is unbelievable. And he's shown, he's one of those guys that's been very inconsistent. Though when he's right, I mean, he's untouchable. And he showed that in the final game against the Cubs, and then Aaron Boone pulled him after 74 pitches. So you got that. Then you also have Carlos Rodon, who came back, pitched. He did pitch pretty well against the Cubs. He gave up that moonshot to Cody Bellinger, and there was another run that he gave up as well. The Yankees ended up losing 3-0, of course. But he looks really good. So I'm excited about him, and he'll be pitching against the Rockies on Friday. And then we get to Luis Severino. My friends and I, and if they are listening, we love Luis Severino. Loved him ever since he came up. Well, 2016, then he took a step back, and they put him in the bullpen, and then he figured it out. Trained with Pedro Martinez, which I think was very smart on his part, because Pedro is one of the greatest pitchers of all time. And then he ended up being a Cy Young candidate, was our ace, for a couple of years. And then injuries kind of just derailed his career. Now, when it comes to injuries with Severino, he, would rebound. He would still pitch well. He hadn't pitched in a couple of years, and, last year he was pretty good when he pitched, even, when he had some injuries going on during the year in 2022. But, so we thought this was going to be no different. And he comes back, pitches well against the Reds, and then after that, he just did not look good. He's been awful. He's been really bad. And I don't know what the problem is. People are saying he's tipping his pitches because the velocity's still there. But something's off with Severino. He's a guy that's not pitching with any confidence right now. And, yeah, you don't know what's wrong with him. However, I will say this. He's making it easier on the Yankees on whether or not to bring him back. I think he's done after this year. And I think pretty much every Yankee fan expects that as well. His most recent start against the Orioles, losing 14-1. That just, I think you do give him one more chance, and then after that, you got to do something with him. I don't know what, but you can't keep trotting him out there every fifth day and expecting a different result if he's just going out there and getting absolutely killed every time. So that's definitely worrisome with that. So, yeah, the Yankees have a lot of problems right now. They're not scoring a lot of runs. They got guys in their rotation that are inconsistent or they just don't have it right now. The bullpen has been good the whole year except these last couple of games. So, yeah, it's not looking good right now. Now, one of the things the Yankees did do was they fired their hitting coach, Dylan Lawson, and they bring in an outside person from the organization. They bring in Hall of Famer Sean Casey to be their new hitting coach. And, that's my reaction to it. It's not the person specifically. It's just what is that going to do? I understand in one instance, Anthony Volpe and Austin Wells, who's in the minors, their catcher, they went over some things, and Austin Wells noticed something with Volpe's swing. And, also got to add that they were having chicken parm during this, which chicken parm is one of my favorite dishes. But anyways, so Austin Wells noticed something with Anthony Volpe's swing, and he tweaked something. And Anthony Volpe, ever since that point, has been a different hitter. And he's, like I said before, he's been one of our bright spots. And he's got, I believe, 13 home runs. Yeah, 13 home runs going into the All-Star break. So by the end of the year, he's going to have over 20 home runs or 20 home runs on the dot. I think he'll definitely have more than that, but we'll see. But yeah, so, that's one thing that people were kind of saying about Dylan Lawson, how he didn't see anything like that. Like there was no correction made with Volpe's stance. Because, early on in the year, you're seeing how he's got an open swing, and he's swinging at the high fastball. He's swinging at pitches that are low and outside. But yeah, he's been a different hitter ever since they made that correction. So, I understand it from that perspective. What is he going to do? Sean Casey, what is he going to do with guys like DJ LeMahieu, Anthony Rizzo, Giancarlo Stanton, Josh Donaldson? is he going to really, connect with those guys and, try to figure out why they're struggling the way they are? I mean, I think there'll definitely be conversations. I was listening to, because he has a podcast on YouTube, and, I liked everything that he said, but it's just like, what is a hitting coach going to do? Because ultimately the players have to go out there and produce. And, I think there's only so much a hitting coach can actually do, but, we'll have to wait and see with that. But, it's actually the first time, I didn't know this, that Brian Cashman fired a coach during the year. I did not know that. I had no idea, so I guess, I don't know, people are saying, oh, it's just something to, throw a bone at the fans just to show that they're making changes. But you know what? They definitely are going to make changes. They're going to get players at the deadline. They're going to try to improve this team the best way they can. But, I mean, do I expect them to win the World Series? No. I didn't expect them to win the World Series going into this year anyways. But I definitely think there will be more changes on the way. They're going to get more players. They're at the deadline. Whether it's, I think a lot of people, including myself, Cody Bellinger is somebody that's on my radar. I would love for the Yankees to go out and get him. He's having a good bounce back season. So, and you know what? The Yankees, something that I've talked about for years, and so many other people have done as well, they need more left-handed hitters. They need that, because if they don't have that, I mean, you have a ballpark, everybody complains about the right porch, right? The short right porch. And they don't have left-handed hitters. Now, you got guys that can go the opposite way. Torres, Stanton, Judge, when Judge is healthy. They have guys that can do that, but you need left-handed bats in your lineup. And I've been saying this for the last, several months or so, but you look at the 2009 World Series team, right? You had two right-handed hitters in Jeter and A-Rod. Everybody else was a left-hander or a switch hitter. You had like 4 or 5 switch hitters in your lineup. Posada, Teixeira, Melky, who else am I missing? Swisher, right? Then you had Matsui and Johnny Damon. That's a lineup you need, but they haven't done that. They haven't had a lineup like that in years. Okay, so I don't think they're going to get it all done in one trade deadline, but they got to get more left-handed bats. So we'll have to wait and see on that. And then people are just talking about bringing up some of the young guys like Peraza, maybe Austin Wells, or Ben Rorkvat, guys that can catch. They got to change something up, because Trevino, like I mentioned before, he's not having the same season that he had last year. Okay, Higashioka, he's been okay this year offensively, but maybe bring up one of the young guys there. Donaldson, a lot of people are talking about him getting DFA'd, which I think it's only a matter of time, because the guy's batting 150, 149, whatever it is. I mean, at some point he's got to go. And maybe you bring up Peraza, have him play third base. I mean, just things like that. I'm for that, because E.J. LeMahieu, he's not going to be playing third base every day if they DFA Donaldson. Okay, you got to do something else. Or maybe they go out and they get another infielder. I don't really know. I don't think they should go out and get a starting pitcher. Johnny Brito and Randy Vasquez, Randy Vasquez has been solid pretty much every one of his starts. Brito had that terrible start against the Twins where they gave up 9 runs in the first inning, but they've been serviceable at times. You got Nestor Cortez, who could be back. I haven't mentioned him, but yeah, he's out obviously with the shoulder injury. They're saying he'll probably be back maybe beginning of August. So, if Severino continues to struggle, you have other options. I think Cole and Rodon are going to be fine. Schmidt's been pitching well lately, although one knock with him is, you get to the 5th inning and he just loses it. And Herman's been wildly inconsistent. Has the perfect game, had no hit stuff the other day, and Boone decides to take him out 74 pitches. So, there's a lot of options that the Yankees have with their starting rotation. So, we'll just have to wait and see, but it's not looking good right now. They're over 500. They're 1 game out of a wild card spot. So I think that, personally for me, I think they'll make the playoffs. Are they going to do anything? Probably not. The biggest thing with them is, you go into this year, and what was the biggest problem with the Yankees last year was their lineup. And they brought back Judge, they brought back Rizzo, but he had to do more. And they didn't do that. They did not do that. They brought in Rodon, and a lot of people, and everyone was hyped about him coming back, but he can't hit. And what happened? They lost 3-0. So, let's see. I think they got to get more than one bat. Bellinger's definitely on my radar. You got to get somebody else along with that. But I don't know who's available, because with all these wild cards now, a lot of these teams are still in it technically. So they got to make the decision. Well, do we have a chance or not? And you're not going to really know until we get closer to the deadline. So, we'll just have to wait and see. But they definitely have to prioritize, getting this lineup, better. And that's with or without Aaron Judge, because it's still not clear whether he's coming back or not. And I'm hoping he does. I'm a little nervous that he said the other day that this injury could take years for it to fully heal. But yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see. But yeah, right now 49-42. It's been a roller coaster season. I mean, when Judge was looking like he was gonna hit 60 home runs again this year, it looked like the Yankees were gonna get themselves back. They were like 4 games out of the Rays. And then he got hurt, and then it's been a roller coaster again. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. But right now it's not looking the best right now with the Yankees. And yeah, we're just gonna have to hope that Judge gets back and the Yankees make the right moves. But I guess firing the hitting coach and bringing in Sean Casey, I guess that's something. So we'll just have to see what happens when they come back on Friday. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about with the Yankees. Again, I'm going to try to, do recap videos as much as I can. And, I know I said that with the last video I made in September, but, I'm going to try to, stay true to my words and get videos out as much as I can to talk about the Yankees when they come back. And right now it's the All-Star break. So yeah, that's basically all I wanted to cover. I hope everybody has a good night, and I will talk to you next time. Take care.